As program coordinator for Mountainside Community Mediation Center, we work with Allegheny and Garrett County to meet the needs of the community members who are having conflict resolution issues. So we work to educate the community about alternate dispute resolution. We also train mediators that are local community members, and then we actually do mediations in both Allegheny and Garrett County. As MCMC's program coordinator, I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of student volunteers. We've had some wonderful interns and capstone students. We've also had the opportunity to facilitate mediations involving students. For example, landlord-tenant conflicts, roommate conflicts, interpersonal relationship conflicts. I also teach in the sociology department at Frostburg State University, so bring in alternate dispute resolutions into the classroom as well. My experience with the dialogue series has been really great. I started with MCMC in October of 2012, so I had the opportunity to join the dialogue series around that time. It really gave me a great opportunity to meet with a lot of different partners that helped grow our mediation center and helped meet the needs of their organizations as well as ours. The dialogue series has definitely provided me with a lot of great educational and learning experiences. One of the best programs that came out of the dialogue series for me personally was the Adopt a Student program. Working with students, getting them to learn about the town, helping me learn about their experiences in town as a community member as well as a director of a local agency has really been invaluable. I've learned a lot of things that I can do to better welcome people to Frostburg as well as to help me grow as a person. I've seen some of the tensions between the campus and community. Unfortunately, there's a lot more racial tension than as a community member I would really like to claim or admit. But I think starting there and recognizing that it is there is the first step. So at the beginning of the dialogue series, for example, I didn't want to admit that was the case or that was a tension that I had seen. I wanted to sweep it under the rug. But through the process, I've learned that it's much better to put it out there and to talk about what the real experiences are. The dialogue series has taught me a lot about communication. Definitely being open and willing to listen to others. Listening is sometimes hard for me, so taking a step back, being willing to hear those difficult things. I was born and raised in Frostburg, so it's sometimes hard to hear that the town is not as welcoming as I think that it is. So everybody has unique experiences to that, so being able to hear that with an open mind and then moving forward in a positive direction from that. I have participated on Facebook and looking at the website about the dialogue series. I enjoyed seeing the videos. We work with some of the other agencies with the mediation center. So for example, seeing interviews with Chief Smith was a great experience. Helps build our partnerships and helps us to understand where they're coming from and where we might be able to assist them with conflict issues. There are a lot of different outcomes I've seen from the dialogue series. Early on, one of the tangible outcomes was the paw prints on the road, and some people might say, well, you know, that's just some paint on the road in the shape of a paw print. What can that really do? But that really brought a lot of people together. So not only the people who painted those paw prints, but the students who were preparing to graduate really felt like the community was coming out in support of them with this very simple, tangible project. And then I've seen things as big as people opening up to one another and sharing some of their really tough, really personal experiences around race and around tensions that they've felt in the community. And then, of course, the Adopt a Student program was a personal, tangible outcome for me. My family has become very close with several of the students because of that program, and we certainly want that to continue in the future. Some of my hopes for the series would be to have communication remain open, to continue to reach out to the groups that were present, as well as those that might not have been at the table at the dialogue series, to continue to welcome students to Frostburg in better ways, to analyze some of the answers and comments that we heard at the dialogue series, and to see what we can really do about them. I think that it doesn't take a large group. I would love to see a large group get involved, but it doesn't really take a large group. One person can definitely make a difference in this instance. So we can all, as community members, do something on an individual level. Relationships are unavoidable. We come in contact with people all day, every day. So learning how to communicate effectively, I think, is very important. And building on those relationships is very important. That certainly takes skill and time to cultivate those. But in my experiences as MC's program coordinator and as a community member, the more that you can interact with someone and they can get to know you on a personal relationship level, the better that it's going to be. Community is very important to me. I grew up in Frostburg. We're raising our family in Frostburg. Generations of my family have lived here. My grandparents had a business on Main Street for years, so I have very strong ties to this community. So I want to be able to connect with long-term residents and short-term residents as well. So bringing those two together is really what community is about for me. I don't want to see the divide. You know, I know it might be there at some times, but trying to bridge that gap is something that I think is very important. Yeah, neighborhoods are certainly a very important part of Frostburg. We get along very well with our neighbors. We know all of those who live around us. My daughter goes to elementary school in town, so having that vibe of everyone around. You know, sometimes people think that that's a little overwhelming, but I really find comfort in that. If you need something, there's always people really close by that you can reach out to. Loss certainly has a lot to do with the economic development of Frostburg. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of fires, a lot of turnover of businesses, and acknowledging that that has happened is important, and then making a plan to move forward as well. Certainly acknowledging some other losses that were brought up during the dialogue series is important. Prior to the dialogue series, I was not aware of the Brownsville community. So I think acknowledging the loss that others felt is really important. So certainly for me, being educated on the loss that others had felt that I was not aware of is really important. So getting the word out around someone's loss is important. I've very much enjoyed working with the dialogue series as a member of the Mountainside Community Mediation Center, as well as a community member and a faculty member at Frostburg State University. It's definitely taught me a lot about myself, a lot about the community, a lot about the strengths that we do have, and the opportunity for growth, I think, was brought out a lot. People really didn't dwell on the negative. If it was brought up, most of the time people decided to focus on what can we do to make this better. So it was wonderful to see people at the table who were really ready to do that hard work and weren't hesitant about getting their hands dirty and having those hard conversations.